afternoon. Are we live, Vanessa? Awesome. Good afternoon and welcome. We'll allow just a moment for all of you to catch up with us. But thanks for joining. My name is Jaemie Neely. I am the PTAC Director, Procurement Technical Assistance Center at the Women's Business Development Center. And we have our guest from the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program, Kristina M.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Is there anybody on with us yet, Vanessa? No? Okay. Well, then we could probably, should we wait until people get on there?
Yeah, so I'll just give a brief introduction about the WBDC before we dive into why you all will join us to listen about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. So for those of you who are not familiar with the WBDC, we are a comprehensive business resource center. From conceptual, I have an idea, all the way to established businesses. We pad you with the appropriate resources, programming, and services to help you grow or scale your business. Whether that's one-on-one advising, workshop seminars, procurement events in government or corporate, we assist you. We have those conversations with our clients. We also have 2 educational cohort programs, similar to the Goldman Sachs 10KSB program, but different at the same time. Our Plan for Profit educational cohort program is designed for that startup business. They're really just trying to get there. They have an idea. They're trying to formulate this business. And of course, we know that 80% of startups, right, don't make it.
Yeah.
And so we're really trying to create supply them with a strong foundation of this business. And then we have our Scale Up program. Scale Up is more for that emerging business, almost established, but emerging. They have a proven concept. They've made some stride. They have some traction, but now they're really looking to solidify this into a really established business. And so we have those, and they serve a purpose for the different demographics of a business, or depending on where a business is in their particular lifespan. But we also partner with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business.
Yeah.
And that partnership is so enriched because a lot of what we do at WBDC supports similar audiences of the 10KSB program. And so we share clients or we share participants. So those who may have graduated or went through our program, oftentimes their next step is to go to the 10,000 Small Businesses program. And we're going to let Kristina kind of dive into what the 10KS program is and how it actually may benefit you in your business and your growth opportunities. So Kristina, if you don't mind, what's the 10KSB program?
So the 10,000 Small Businesses Program is an educational and developmental program specifically for small business owners, and it's for established business owners. It's fully funded through the Goldman Sachs Foundation, so it is a scholarship program, and again, it focuses on business education and development. The point of the program is to help businesses grow and create more jobs within their organization. So we do this through a few different facets. First is the peer-to-peer learning environment. Mm-hmm. So it's a 15-week curriculum. You're in a classroom for 15 weeks. Everything that we do at the Chicago site is located inside of Harold Washington College downtown. So for 15 weeks, you're in a classroom setting with 30 to 40 other business owners, and you're learning everything that you need to know in order to really build your business acumen so that you're making strategic business decisions. So we go from leadership, HR, operations and processes, marketing and selling. We have a lending clinic where lenders come in, a legal clinic where we have attorneys come in, and the business owners can have one-on-one conversations with those different professionals. So you have that peer-to-peer learning environment for 15 weeks. Then you get a business advisor throughout the duration of the program. The business advisor is going to help you create your growth strategy. So the point of the program is to help you grow and create more jobs within your organization. And the way that we do that is through the curriculum, and then the bridge work or homework that you have is built out. And you put it into a document, and at the end of the program it becomes a robust growth strategy. And so our business advisors help you through that process for the duration of that 15 weeks again. And then finally is access to capital. We know that is a huge need for small business owners. Most of the time, access to capital is what they're looking for. And because Goldman Sachs is an investment bank, a lot of times people maybe misconstrue what we're able to do, because we are not the investment bank, we are the foundation. So we don't actually give you access to capital, but what we will do is through that growth strategy help you to create a pitch and put you in front of the type of investors or lenders that you're looking to be in front of. So we will literally help you curate what you will pitch to an investor or to a lender, whatever that form of access to capital is that you need, but we don't actually give you the money, the funding.
Got it. Yeah, well, I've participated in those rocket pitch. They are actually fun. You kind of hear the different businesses, the opportunities, what they've learned throughout the program, because the rocket pitch comes towards the end,
Yes.
right, before they graduate.
It's like the last mile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it's exciting to see what they've learned throughout the program, and then they have real live either investors, bankers, or kind of financial specialists in front of them to kind of give them feedback on how to better position their pitch, things that they went well in, things again that you can improve on, but the overall objective is being able to sell your financial needs, because as a business owner, right, we're all going to have that access to capital conversation at some point, whether it's investors, whether it's a loan, whether it's a working capital. We have to pitch our businesses, right? And even if it's not in a financial sense, we're always pitching our businesses in any aspect, on the elevator, on the way to the restaurant. You're a brand of your business, right? And you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, and so it's a really great way to help them fine-tune that skill, because like you said, it's not only access to capital, but what I will say is we've had scholars, is what we call you when you're going through the program. We've had scholars do that Mod 9 pitch, fast pitch that you're talking about, and they actually got the funding at that pitch because we had lenders on the panel. So it's literally those type of opportunities. Will you identify what it is that you need in your growth strategy? This is how I want to grow. This is what I need to make it happen. And this is the timeline that I want to do it in. And we'll literally put you in front of those different resources. Another thing I want to mention, I mentioned that, you know, the Chicago site is located inside of here at Washington College. I do want to make note that it's a national program. So we have 14 sites nationwide across the country, and for people who are located in areas that are not within a 2 hour radius of the location, we have a national program. Half of that is done online, and then the other half you actually go to Babson University, who is the creator of the curriculum for the program, and you finish the last 2 weeks of the program at Babson University.
Which is awesome. And that's really complimentary to, we certify in 9 states at WBDC, and so while we have a really strong presence here in Chicago, I think our other 8 markets would be able to benefit from the online platform if they aren't within that 2 hour radius.
Absolutely.
So that's really good to know. How could they find out about the national program?
You can go to our site, honestly, 10KSB Chicago, or just 10KSB.com, and you'll be able to see the national brand. Go to the website, but if you go to the Apply Now button on our website, which is 10KSB Chicago, the number 10, the letter K, the letter S, the letter B as in boy, Chicago.com, and you hit Apply Now, you are able to designate what area you're in. So you don't necessarily have to go to the national brands page to access the application for the national cohort.
Got it. Kristina, you mentioned established businesses. So while WBDC, we have our educational cohort for the startup, for the emerging business. You specifically mentioned the established business. What defines established?
That's a great question. So let me just maybe give an overview of the requirements in general for the program. So like I said, it is for an established business owner. You have to be in business at least 2 years. The business owner has to be the one to go through the program. You can be the minority or majority owner, but you have to have ownership within the company. You also have to be doing at least $150K in revenue a year. And then you need 4 full-time employees or the equivalent to. So 1099 or part-timers are considered half points. So 8 would be the equivalent to 4 full-time. And the owner would count in the count of the full-time employee as well.
Is any of this negotiable, if you will, like depending on the business model? Sometimes that business doesn't warrant employees. Is there any way to have a conversation?
That's another great question. So we do, within the application process, we ask some descriptive questions about the business so that we can make a more objective decision, not just knowing, subjectively, hey, these are the requirements, so you don't meet them, so, you're subject not to meet them. No, but we look at what you have going on, look at the structure of the organization, and see if, hey, maybe your market doesn't warrant you to have 4 full-time employees. So we can do those things. And then I'm really glad you asked that question, because specifically for minority businesses, we are able to bend the requirements on the revenue and the employee requirements. So if you're doing at least 100K, and if you have at least 2.5 to 3 employees, then we are able to still consider you to be a part of the program.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I know you all have done great in going out into the different neighborhoods
Yes.
and communities
Yes.
to really identify all businesses, but more specifically our diverse businesses as well, to help kind of fill your pipeline with those businesses. They're important and can have or get value from the program as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good to hear. So I'm interested. I meet the eligibility requirements. I go to 10KSB Apply or 10KSBApply.com, right?
Both of them. Yeah,
Yep.
you can do the actual
the other,
website,
yeah.
so 10KSB Apply, yeah.
And then what's the process? What's the application process like?
Another great question, Jaemie. Looks like you got those written out or something. I don't know. No. So the application process it's a few different aspects to it. The first application is really simple. It takes like 5 to 7 minutes. It literally asks you the requirements that I talked about, your percentage of ownership, why you want to be a part of the program. So it's super simple. The second part of the application process is a little more in depth. So we start asking for documentation in order for us to have proof of what you said on the first part. So if you say you're doing $800,000 in annual revenue, we need to see that. So we need your 2 years of balance sheets, 2 years of profit and loss, your tax return, and then proof of ownership. And the reason we need 2 years specifically is because within the financial module that we do, we actually have the business owners use their own financial documents as the case studies. So we literally have an accountant that comes in. One of our faculty members is an accountant. He does an awesome job with that module, and he really, really breaks it down. But they want you to have your own financial documents, so instead of using a dummy document, you're actually seeing what's happening within your own organization. Yeah.
Wow. I think that's so needed. I mean, you mentioned some of the operations, HR, some of the modules, but financial, you all spent 2 weeks on the financial piece, right?
We have a module, and then we have 2 workshops, all dedicated around finance, accounting, and really, it's not about making you an expert, but so that you can really understand what you're looking at, what the line items mean. If you're using an accountant, is this accountant actually doing their job? At least you know what type of questions to ask when you come out of it. So those are the type of skills that you get. It's not to make you an expert in any sense, but so that you can have a very comprehensive understanding of your business, but business in general. So when you're making these decisions, when you're bringing on new people into your organization, you have a better point of reference than you may have had otherwise.
Our financials tell a story,
Absolutely.
right? And if you don't understand your financials as a business, you're missing the story of your business. So I think that's amazing and awesome. Deadline. When is the next cohort? How often do they come around?
Yeah.
When should they start applying or looking to apply?
Good. So we have revolving applications, so you can apply any time of the year because we do 3 cohorts a year. Our contract, Goldman renewed our contract through 2020. We're the only site nationally to get a 3-year renewal, so we'll definitely be around through 2020, and we do 3 cohorts each year. The cohort that we are recruiting for now, that application deadline is October 10th, and that cohort begins the first week of January. That first Friday of January 2019 is when that cohort will begin.
Got it.
That was the only... Did I answer all your questions?
And that cohort goes for 15 weeks, right?
Yes, 15. So it'll go through January and it'll end in April.
So you have the 15 weeks. Am I there every week? How often am I physically with you? How much take-home homework do I have? What's involved within those 15
That's
weeks?
a good question, Jaemie.
And another one.
Another good question. So it's a time commitment. That's something that we try to be very candid about. Like, you will have to dedicate time. One of the first things that business owners learn when they are accepted into the program is delegation. You will be pulled out of your business for an entire day when we have modules. So within the 15 weeks, there are 9 modules. And those are like every other week within the 15 weeks. And then there will be 2 weeks where it'll be a Friday and a Saturday back-to-back, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Full day. Okay.
Full day. The 5 workshops that we talked about, those are every other week as well, but they're during the week and they're in the evening from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 to 9 p.m. So the workshops are during the week. At the end of the workday, they're typically on like Tuesdays or Thursdays, but that's subject to change, you know. But they're during the week, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The modules are every other week as well. Always on Friday, and then there'll be 2 Fridays to Saturday back-to-backs, and those are all day, 5:30 or 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Can nonprofits go through
Nonprofits
the
can go through it. So nonprofits have to meet the same requirements as a for-profit organization, but as far as the revenue requirement is concerned, the full revenue cannot come through grants. You have to have some other form of fundraising. Other than grants. Yeah.
Okay. So they apply, they get to the application, they're looking, they have questions, right? Who can they call?
So while you're going through the application process, I'm the outreach director, so you can always feel free to reach out to me. But also within our team, we have 2 people that are inside the office. Because I'm an outreach director, a lot of times I'm in the field, so I may not get back to you as quickly as you'd like. Honestly. So if that happens, we do have 2 staff members inside the office, Simone and Nathan, and they're always available as well to take calls or emails to answer questions. And I realized I did not finish answering the application process question.
Sorry.
Because it was a little packed.
Sorry.
So no. I just realized that. So after that second part of the application, that's the more involved, where we're asking for documentation, we're asking about your education. We're asking about, do you have any other forms of income? We're asking about, have you received monies from a lending institution? We ask more in-depth questions. After that, there is an interview process. In the interview process, you are interviewing in front of a panel of about 2 or 3 of our partners, and it's about 25 minutes, and it's really to assess the fit for you in the program. So if you made it to the interview process, we know that as far as requirements are concerned, you meet the requirements. But now we need to see if you will fit well into this peer-to-peer learning environment that we create, because it truly is that. You aren't being lectured to. You aren't, sitting with the book. You're learning a concept. You sit in growth groups. So within the business owners within the room, it's a table of like 5 to 6. And you learn a concept, and then you get the muscle memory with your group. You learn a new concept, you get the muscle memory. So will you be a good peer or a good person to be in that type of setting? That's what they're really assessing for. And then after that, if we decide, hey, they're great for the program, we want them to be a part, your application is sent to our national brand. They do a background check. And as long as you pass the background check, you start the first day of your cohort. That's the application process.
In completion. So with that completion, I have questions now. So let's say I apply, I was fortunately accepted, I'm happy, I'm excited, but then something happens in my life, I can't start on that start date, or I know that I can't commit. Is there anything that I can do, maybe tackle up during the next cohort or anything?
That's a great question. So we have a deferment option. If you are accepted into the program, we can defer you 1 cohort.
Okay.
So if you were accepted into our spring cohort, we can defer you to our fall cohort. We cannot defer you to the winter cohort.
Okay.
So you can only defer 1 cohort. And what the deferment process really means is that, hey, I got accepted. I know I won't be able to commit to the class dates that you all have. And so I want to just start day 1 on the next cohort. You don't have to do the application over. You don't have to interview again. You literally just have a new start date. But if you know that even deferring 1 cohort will still have you in a schedule bind, you have to do the whole application process over.
I sat in on some of the interviews, and they're interested, and I know the first time Randy was telling me about the fit. I'm like, well, Randy is the program director, Randy Kravitz, and so he's executive director. I'm sorry. So he's like, I'm like, they're meeting the requirements. What else are we looking for? And he kept emphasizing the fit and just how you all strategically try to get a good diversity of industry, right, of businesses, demographics, of course, and just making sure personalities and blending and what that looks like. Absolutely. And then I attend the interview, and then I attend the graduation at the end, and I see these cohorts become like family and really, really close. And so I think looking or paying special attention to the fit, it provokes that family orientation that I see at the graduation.
Absolutely. And one of the cool things about the way that they build relationships, we're on our 22nd cohort right now.
Wow.
So from cohort 1 to cohort 22, 85% of the business owners within the cohort end up doing business together. They're literally relationship building in there because of the way the curriculum is structured, because of the way you're never really doing work by yourself. It's always you're engaging, because you need to engage to kind of get the muscle memory on a lot of these concepts. And so for that reason, a lot of them sit on each other's advisory boards. After their cohort graduates, some of them have quarterly meetings still, some of them biannually, whatever, fits for their schedules. But
some have like Facebook group chats.
Oh yeah, listen, the sky is the limit, because the really cool thing that you learn, a lot of times business owners feel like they're on this island, nobody understands me, I have these issues, but people want to help, but they just can't relate because they're not owners. But one of the really cool things that you get is this camaraderie of people who are all operating kind of in the same light, different industries, different, men and women, different culture, background, and all those different things. But you really realize, like, at the end of the day, like, we're business owners. And so for that reason, we can really help one another and just be an added value to each other's lives. And so it really becomes that. And when we do alumni events, so after you graduate from the program, we do continuing things. We do social networking, educational, whatever our owners need, but you have the opportunity to meet some of the other cohorts, and it's literally like a family, because when you meet somebody, even when you're out a part of WBDC, we have several of our owners who have gone through our program who are part of WBDC. So when I go to WBDC events, I'm, hey, it's good to see you, always. And so it's a really great program, because not only does it fine-tune you as an owner, but it also gives you some support. Right? That's exactly what it is. You get a network of support.
Got it. So you mentioned the curriculum is backed by Babson College.
Babson, yes.
Obviously, the Goldman Sachs name at City College of Chicago, here at Washington College, locally here in Chicago. One would think this has to cost thousands of dollars. How much is it?
It's free.
What?
It's free.
That's
my biggest selling point. No, it's free though. It really is. The only thing that we ask for are metrics and evaluations, right? When you first come into the program, we ask you for that documentation so we can see baseline. This is where they started before getting into our program. We ask you for those same metrics 6 months, 18 months, and 30 months after the program, so that we can continue to see the effectiveness of what you learned throughout the duration. That's the reason we're able to continue to get funded, and obviously like any other non-for-profit, are we really meeting the goals and objectives that we intended to meet? And we are. And when we look at our business owners in comparison to national averages and job growth and job creation and organizational growth, they're doing 30% higher than national averages. And so we know that the program works.
It's working.
We know that the program works.
And I think that's what they want to hear. They want to hear their revenues or their job creation or retention is going to shoot up, especially after 6 months, right?
Absolutely.
And I've met these businesses, so the data is real. I see the excitement. I see the passion. I have not met one alumni who has had anything bad to say about the program.
Yeah.
And that's, in all honesty, the only thing that I've heard, not even close to it, but close enough, is just the time commitment. You know, it's a time commitment. It's you really have to be all in. It's an opportunity to really work on your business.
Absolutely.
And discipline yourself as an owner to not always work in the business, right? And so I've even learned that some of the alumni, even after they finish, they allocate that one day that they would meet to still continue to work on the business, and they're not as accessible to the businesses they used to be. But these are all efforts to really keep that growth plan in operation, continue to implement it, report back to the 10KSB so that we can understand the tracking, how it's benefiting the businesses.
Yeah.
And we just hear all positive feedback.
That's good. That always makes me feel good because we work really hard. You know, our faculty is really dynamic. I did want to mention the reason we're inside of a community college is because they realize that the faculty of community colleges are accustomed to teaching adults. And so all of our faculty come from community colleges, and they are literally dynamic. They fly them all over the country to teach, you know, at the different sites because they are really, really that great. If we're talking about sites, you know, I'm going to have to plug mine in Chicago. We are always in the top 2 performance sites nationally. Okay? When we look at, you know, from a staff, a faculty, and staff, faculty, and the execution, if you will, or the results is what I was looking for. The results of our business owner after, during, going through the program, we're always either the top site or the top 2 sites. So we work really, really hard to make sure we're creating just a wonderful experience for the business owners. And so it always makes me feel good to hear that, you know, we continue to get good feedback because we do. We work really hard. We want it to be as amazing as we're talking about it is.
So you all heard it yourself. Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, 15-week education cohort program, backed by Babson College. It's free. City Colleges of Chicago at Harold Washington College, right on State and
30 East Lake Street.
Yeah, right there.
30 East Lake.
And
again, the website, I'll give you guys that again because I always encourage people to look at the website because we have like testimonials on there. The schedule is on there for the next cohort so that you can even see when those module dates and workshop dates will be. And just all the information that you would need is really on the website. So again, that is the number 10KSB as in boy, Chicago.com.
And that's all we have for you today. We thank you so much for joining us here at the WBDC and 10,000 Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Businesses. And we will have a live event as we approach the October 10th application deadline. So stay tuned for that. You can actually come and visit and hear from some alumni that we'll have on the panel there. Meanwhile, go to the website, apply if you have any questions. Again, contact Kristina Wynne, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So I'm like,